Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and it's time for an Ask Me Anything. Get all of your questions in now if you guys don't know how this works. I usually go straight down the line, no spamming, no bigotry, and no ridiculousness. We're going to get along just great. Honest questions, honest comments. That's what we like here. And we have so much to talk about. I'm going to be streaming live later with Action for Assange as well. But I think that I'm going to begin it like this, guys. Before we get into the comedians, and if you haven't seen what Kevin James has done, I'm going to show you bits and pieces. It's on YouTube, so I don't want to get a copyright strike, but it's rather brilliant. And Jim Brewer. We are going to play that because that was just a backyard Facebook video where he gets really insightful about what's going on during COVID 1984. And folks, during COVID 1984, I've been fully demonetized. Shocking. It's shocking, isn't it? So, first things first, when we get demonetized, we take super chats through this. All right. And if there are any questions, we're going to start there. So Vincent Repco, thank you so much. Thank you for your amazing work and all you do. I wish you the best. Thank you. Patty, you're always such a great supporter. Thank you. You rock. Gary Christ, to one of the hardest working, most sincere and patriotic journalists on YouTube. God bless and protect you. I will donate to Maria Farmer as well. Thanks for informing the world about the predator class. Maria Farmer, you know, her GoFundMe after this interview shot through the roof, and so good. I'm so, thank you guys. Thank you. With small monthly donations, I support independent media creators, including Burmis, Corbett, TruthStream, Conscious Resistance, We Are Change, and others. Thank you so much, Wally. We all appreciate that. Carol Volkman says, I don't have more to donate. I'm disabled, broke, couldn't resist after your interview with Maria Farmer. Carol, I really appreciate that. Oh, and all the best. So we're going to come back to this later on. But during COVID 1984, there is a ton of censorship. And I want to explore that censorship really briefly before we get into a plethora of topics. And then again, your questions and comments, I promise we will go to you. So get them in right now while you can. We always start at the top. I hope Drufus is here. I haven't seen him in a while. Hope everything's okay with my moderator. But when the New York Post, which, believe me, I'm not endorsing the New York Post. There's a lot of fake nonsense that comes out of the Post. The staged Ghislaine Maxwell photos come to mind as a recent example. But they're challenging Facebook, and their fact checkers are the real fake news after censoring a Post story. And what was the Post story? It was a story, an opinion piece about the absurdity that this came from a bat. And now remember, you're allowed to say it may have leaked from a biolab in China. That narrative is now okay to talk about, maybe, right? But you never know what the narratives are that you're able to talk about. What do I mean by that? Well, just so everybody knows, Tony Gosling had re-uploaded this video right here, okay? And this is just a discussion with Tony. It happens to be on my page still. I've yet to get a video pulled that I know of. If you guys have seen anything pulled, let me know. But I've gotten nothing about actual harmful content, nothing about removal, nothing about flagging or any of that, okay? So, you know, I had named it COVID 1984 Across the Pond with Tony Gosling, and we discussed just about anything coronavirus for over an hour. Well, Tony reposted it, and he did get it restricted, which is odd to me because, you know, most of the time when Tony reposts my stuff, I still have more views, so you think there would be more heat on me. But this just shows you that we live in an arbitrary Orwellian system where things can be pulled from the internet, not based on facts, not based on intent, but based totally on the decisions made by our predator class overlords in this new technopoly. And when I think COVID 1984, I think Chick-fil-A. I don't know about you guys. I've worked a lot of jobs in my day, and I am not too proud. I've said it on this program. I would shovel shiz if I had to. I would clean toilets if I had to feed myself and my family. I am a survivor. But when I see takeout lanes where people are wearing essentially micro level hazmat uniforms to deliver chicken sandwiches, I'm just blown out of the water. I'm just blown out of the water. Now, I want to move into the title of this, and again, get your questions and comments in. We will refresh the fundraiser, the GoFundMe, in a bit, see if there are any super chats there, but I want to get serious before I get into the comedy, even though the comedy itself is kind of serious, and that's what's so important about this. Up to 5 New York children dead, 100 sickened by rare COVID-related illness. Now, they're talking about a rash on children. And I almost pulled up the Daily Mail article because it had a lot of pictures, right? But Cuomo's now discussed it, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, they'll say anything is COVID-19. Again, it's pretty dark, guys. These rashes and whatnot, they're pretty dark. Well, oh, man. I asked my Brooklyn source about this today. Why did I do that? Well, the past, I want to say 2.5 months, his baby, okay, his infant, has been in and out of the hospital. Now, let me just tell you something about this guy. We didn't always get along. We don't always get along. He, by the way, is very left-leaning. Politically, we're never going to agree. Okay, and today I started the conversation maybe a little bit wrong because I was he had said something about Rand Paul, and I just respectfully said, I disagree with your Rand Paul position, but I'm curious to find out what you know about the children and this virus. Now, as you guys know, one of my sources, the Stony Brook source, was actually in the pediatrics department, and one of the reasons I reached out to her is because she extubated a kid. And at that time, most people who had been intubated did not get off that. Now, I asked her, and you can go back to my videos, if any children died. She told me no. Now, maybe she was being honest. Maybe she wasn't. Maybe she, had to bend the truth a little bit. Now, again, when I talked about this, I always said that the goalpost would always be moved, right? And now we're in infants and kids, and they're saying 5 deaths, and we're talking children, okay? Children. And so I'm starting to talk to my source in Brooklyn, and he gets mad at me, and I said, look, man, because he says my kid has been in and out of the hospital, and I haven't been working the last month, and I'm going to have to be tested when I go back in. That's all you're going to get out of me. And then I explained to him, listen, I'm trying to give people an idea based on real information, okay, that this is a real virus, and listen, again, we've gone over this, but now it's being found in men's semen. All right? And I get it. The testing, it's all over the place. The Tanzanian president who got a papaya and a goat to test positive via the WHO test. I get it. But these kids, even before they were calling it COVID-related, they could not diagnose my friend's son. Okay? And he's been very worried about it. And it's actually something I brought up. As you guys know, I do a weekly Zoom meeting with fraternity brothers. And somebody had said something about one of his political posts. And I said, guys, he's going through a really rough time, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. For that to happen to somebody's child. So I flat out asked him, because he believes with this rash that his child has, and he's still undiagnosed, and he believes, this is COVID related. I said, well, what do you think? I go, do you think that the numbers are low? Or do you think they're just introducing this now and the numbers are probably higher? And he said, look, they haven't diagnosed my kid with this, and I'm almost sure that he has it. I can't think of anything else he has. Because, again, this is completely new. And even Cuomo's talking about it being completely new. All right? So this is, again, worrisome. And I don't know that it's a mutation or what is that, or it's an interaction with something else, right? But I do know that, these kids are getting sick. And it is something weird. It's a rash. It's not a fever. It's not their lungs. It's not their respiratory system. Okay? So now you have to ask yourself, with those being the symptoms before and the idea that this has been in New York for quite some time, how many other kids may have suffered this? Because we don't really know. And I think it's, again, something we have to keep our eye on. All right, let's jump to the comedians. And remember, guys, we're going to go through We're going to go through all of your questions and comments in just a bit, so get them in there. I promise you this will be an AMA to remember. So let's get into this right here, okay? Kevin James, not the most political guy that I know of. I can say that, not the most political guy that I know of. So this caught me off guard. I thought I was watching a preview for some new movie that was coming out, right? And we're going to kind of skip through it. But essentially, you're seeing these two guys running through the woods, and they're booking, and they're running, and then all of a sudden it's nighttime. And again, this, leads me to credence that this is some kind of a chase movie or a crime movie or something like that. So they start talking. He's like, I can't go to jail. They're here. I'm too young to die. All this crazy stuff. You're like, what's happening? No, Kevin James, tell him not to freak out. No, he gets taken. And now Kevin James, he gets hit with that light and he's scared. Oh no, what am I going to do? No, 6 hours earlier. Okay. And then it looks like it's going to be maybe some kind of a weird comedy. He's sitting there, everything's calm, he's having a fun time. They're having a great conversation. Hey, buddy, how you doing? How you doing? We should have dinner sometime. Yeah, oh, it's great to see you. And then they shake hands. Okay? But they look over and someone has a mask on and is on a cell phone calling the police, saying, you've got two handshakers here. And they're looking at each other. See that handshake? Not allowed. And then two other people come over with their cameras and they run. And it's a very good commentary on where we may be in the future of COVID-1984. Because when they're reimagining travel right now, I wish this was a joke, and it's disturbing. Let me just read you a little segment on this. Okay? First of all, we're talking about 4 hours. 4 hours. You think after 9/11 was bad? 4 hours in a screening process. Okay? Really frightening. But let's talk about really frightening. Among the steps under consideration, no cabin bags, no lounges, no automatic upgrades, face masks, surgical gloves, self-check-in, self-bag drop-off, immunity passports, on-the-spot blood tests, and sanitation disinfection tunnels. Maybe you saw in China those sanitation disinfection tunnels. Not something I'm going to be a part of. If this happens, air travel is over. It's over. It's over. I'll go back to sea if I want to get across the country. Boats are going to make a big comeback. And if they try this shit on them, I just don't know what to tell you in this transhumanist Orwellian nightmare that they are proposing. Okay? And I just did not expect comedian Jim Brewer to be so damn insightful into what's going on. But we're going to let Jim play this. And then I'm gonna skimp through some of the other COVID-1984. We're going to go right to your questions. So get those questions in, my friends.
Oh, beautiful day here in Jersey. I wish things were opened up. But I tell you, the one thing the quarantine has taught me was to slow down in life. Slow down and enjoy such beautiful moments that I used to enjoy as a child and I forgot even existed. Just sitting and being silent so you can hear the wind going through the trees and the bushes, so you can hear children playing in the background. I love that sound, kids laughing and running around. This weekend, I took a moment. My daughter was cooking for the family and she was singing the top of her lungs. It was such a beautiful moment in time. Enjoying moments in time. We're on borrowed time. Very blessed. I've been very humbled. Thank you.
And I like that because he's had a successful career, but he's worked for it. You know, I met his brother once, actually a few times, but I had a conversation with him once. And, seems like a stand-up, down-to-earth guy. Jim, I've never met Jim, but his brother was, and he had nothing but good things to say about his brother. And another guy I used to work with, they all went to a show together to go see Jim and hung out afterwards and had nothing but great things to say about him. And I'm going to tell you, the things he says here make me believe that's true.
Yeah, we had people stop by this weekend. It was amazing. They first were in fear, and I said, don't fear, just come on. And you know what? Not to be Zooming and to be interacting and finding funny things to talk about and frustrations and trying to figure this all out. And it was amazing not to live in fear and just talk and enjoy each other's company, because that...
Not Zooming, not living in fear, enjoying each other's company, being human beings.
That is what life is about. Slow down and enjoy one another's company and lift each other's spirits. All for one, one for all. Forget this living in fear. Fear controls you. You know what? You have these people. Your governors don't care about you. Most of them don't care. I can't say that about all of them. But come on. We the people, don't forget that. We the people, millions of us. Why don't we figure out how to change things? Why don't we tell them this is how it's going to go?
Wow. How perfect is that? You tell me how many Hollywood celebrities are going to stand up there and say, your governors don't care about you. It's we the people. Why don't we tell them how it's going to go?
I mean, you got a governor. You have governors going, oh, this is how we're going to... They're taking time to figure out how you're going to vote. How you going to vote? And I'm sorry, voting by mail is... I ain't buying that. I don't care who you're into, but no. Absolutely. That's ridiculous. If you can go to the shopping center and you can go to Lowe's and you can go to Walmart, then you can get your ass to a booth if you really cared about who you want in office.
Calling them out. Calling them out. Says, listen, I don't care which way you lean. This is setup. This is a rig job. I'm not buying it.
That's what they're worried about. How are you going to vote? They're not worried about going to small businesses and creating funds and paying them right away and coming up with events and directly pay people. And that's what they're worried about, how we're going to vote. Isn't that nice? Power, greed, money. That's what that drives. We the people, find your faith. Understand we're supposed to be social with one another. And the more they try to divide you, the more they will conquer you. Turn it off. Unite. Unite. Use common sense, morality, and look after each other. And don't be driven by greed and money and power.
I mean, beautiful. That's some beautiful stuff right there, guys. That is some beautiful stuff. And, you know, again, what they're going to run with, the headlines, are things like this. 72 people in Wisconsin test positive after attending large gathering. They don't want you to protest. They won't even report in the United States what happened in Germany at all. Instead, what do they want? They want a contact tracing army. They want social distance ambassadors. 17,000 people in this state alone. The Track Trace Army. How long have I been saying this is a track trace database society, guys? 15 plus years. 15 plus years now. And now it's in your face. And that doesn't mean this isn't real. You know how I feel about it. These are the excess deaths. Anybody can see them. That isn't in denial. Something is killing these people. Tracking COVID-19 excess deaths across countries. Please go check it out at The Economist, giving you some raw numbers and information. Definitely shared it with Corbett and others. But again, there's so many people that are asymptomatic that we really don't have the data to see what this is, where this is going, and how concerned we need to be on a day-to-day basis. What we need to be concerned about outside of the martial law they're imposing on us, but the medical martial law and the things like reimagining airports and education. All right? So guys, I'm going to go to your questions and comments. I'm sure it's going to jump through, but I'm going to try to get to as many as possible. And remember, if you want the super chat feature, it's disabled. We're fully demonetized here. Fully demonetized. So if you want to get in a super chat types question every 10 minutes or so, I will refresh right here. And if you get your question or comment in, we will read it. And I appreciate all donations, as always, especially after getting fully demonetized on this platform. All right, let's continue on. How we doing, Occult Priestess? Good to see you. Sandcore, let's go. I don't think I was late. I think I hit it on the head. Feel the berm. Thank you. Anyone think that the virus isn't truly a virus, but some kind of nanotech? You know, I would say this. One of the first things my nurse source said in Queens was that this is some type of crazy shit like nanobots. And I didn't want to start conspiracies then, and I'm not starting conspiracies now. But no matter what you believe about this, the evidence seems clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer every single day it came from a lab. And that this thing is something different, boy. It is not the flu. But that does not mean that we live our lives in fear. Just like Jim Brewer said. They have an ointment for that, says Scott Bailey. I don't know about nanotech, but I don't think it's as bad as they say. Where you go, I go, champ. But again, yeah, so one of the conversations I was having with my Brooklyn friend, who is not a nurse, that is my third source down in the city, was the mortality rate. And he thinks it's 0.3 to 0.6%. Okay, that was his estimation. I said, I really don't think that. And I presented him with, I think it's 0.1, but it's 5 to 10 times as contagious as the flu. And, I asked him what he thought about the asymptomatic study that I just showed you in the Boston homeless population. He said he hadn't seen it, but he was skeptical of all numbers and studies. And, was there a double blind? And I just said, look, that one was done by the state. I'm not trying to give you, propagated numbers or anything like that. And then I showed him the prison population story that I just said. I said, I think there are a lot of asymptomatic carriers out there. I think a lot more than people think. Burbis' nurse contact actually mentioned nanotech at some point. That is true, Jasper. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Seems so selective. It's just odd to me. It was odd to her. She literally said it seems like they're turning it on and off on people. What up, JB? Hey there, Burbis Brigade. Hope everyone is well. Yes, I am well, Scott. I hope you are as well. Killing them softly with this lockdown. Listen, this lockdown is bad news brown. Okay? 100%. And remember, geolocated, New York City is much different than where I am. In fact, on the 15th, we're supposed to be in phase 2 of reopening, which is basically almost nothing, by the way. I just want to point that out. Phase 2 of reopening is other retail stores are allowed to open for pickup or delivery. So basically, non-essential retail can now become what essential burger joints have become. So no restaurants, no bars, no social interaction beyond what we really have now, other than you can get things delivered from other places. Everything else is still in place. I'm leaving the state. I'm out of here. Let's see. Scott Bailey says he was also fully demonetized. Hey, Brigade. How you doing, Kelly Lee? How you doing, Alyssa? Oh, there's the jump. There's the jump. Let's try to get it all the way back up to where we can. There we go. Bam. All right. Let's see. Oh. Peace, Scott. We didn't even get there. All right, here we go. What type of cancer does Maria Farmer have? She has brain cancer and another type of cancer. I believe whatever they were looking for in her chest. She described that as well. But brain cancer, she said that the only reason she really found it was that she went deaf in one of her ears. Jennifer Mitchell says, sup, truthers. I hate the term truther. It's just so, there's going to be a Wired piece coming out on the 15th anniversary of Loose Change. And I really talked about the term truther and its origins and how I like to, and I've said on this program, I like to tell the truth. I don't consider myself a truther. And I'm far from perfect too, by the way. And I hope people understand what that means. I don't glom on to like labels, right? I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a leftist. I'm not alt-right. Okay? I'm about truth. I'm about freedom. Hey, I'm not going to say I'm Americana and apple pie baseball. That's not me. No. I love baseball. I love America. Apple pie, delicious. With a scoop of vanilla ice cream, yummy. Yummy. Those are all great things. I don't necessarily identify with any of those. I like a free humanity. I like open speech. I like checks and balances. I like a system of true justice. And a lot of those things we don't have anymore in this country. What I don't like is a track trace database society with ultra surveillance and a social credit score based on propaganda and lies imposed on us by a predator class. That's what I can tell you. Let's see. We got some good news. Won't let me on your channel, Scott, or I'd follow. Kelly Lee says that. Kawasaki disease is caused by low vitamin D levels. It's getting more common in kids with COVID-19. See, they have mentioned that Kawasaki. So that is a very possible thing, especially most of these babies are not getting those stroller walks they might have, right? Or as much. And by the way, it's been friggin' cold out here. D3, vitamin D levels come from the sun naturally, etc. Alyssa says, hey, Scott, which states are you looking into moving to? Now, I was talking to this about with Luke Rudowski yesterday, and a little bit today. We didn't talk so much about moving today, but he was trying to get me to move to Mexico back in the day. I'm not going to Mexico. North Dakota, South Dakota. I think North Dakota more than South Dakota because marijuana is both for medicinal and decriminalized. I've thought about like the fully legal states, but then I'd have to go to like Washington State probably, right? But even then, there's some loopholes in the laws, and they'll try to get you driving and things like that. So that's iffy. Oregon may be a possibility. Missouri still may be a possibility. I'm going to be, hopefully in the next 3 to 4 weeks, I'm going to be planning a trip where I'm going to be just on the road with a laptop, live streaming mostly from my phone on issues while I can, or in different areas, telling you why I like them, telling you why I don't like them, and maybe interviewing interesting people while I'm there, but trying to figure out where I'm going to be on September 1st. Because I'm donezo. I am done diddly unzo with New York. Not staying. No way. My town is about to be eviscerated. Maine's just went out of business. The large food distribution company. They're lying to everybody and acting like schools are going to reopen up here, aka the colleges that keep everybody in business. They are not. The vast majority of those kids are from the city and Long Island. There are not enough tests or testing to do that they would allow that. Period. And that's not because I think that should be the case, but I think that the powers that be will make that decision. And they're stringing us all along. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, another month, another month, another month, another month. Mike Minnick, did anyone ever find out what the guy who tried to drive the train into the medical ship was in the ship, or what the ship was being used for? I'm not quite sure what we're talking about there. How we doing, Canadian Truther? Good to see you. Anonymous, she has a brain tuner and had a bunch of activity in her chest cavity from the interview. Yes, thank you, Kelly Lee. Thank you for paying attention. What a great interview that was. You guys, had anyone seen Drew lately? Drewfus mentioned he was going off the grid for a bit. Oh, man. I hope everything's good for him, man. He was a really great dude to meet. You know, that's the only reason I have a mod is because I actually met him. And he seemed like a really solid person, somebody that I could trust in the comment section. And he did a great job while he was here, and hopefully he's going to be back. And hopefully him and his family are well. Much love from the Burmese Brigade. The Post is a terrible source. Agreed. If you take D3, you also need vitamin K2. Is anyone going to talk about Rogan having Epstein's personal chef on JRE, not asking one question? No journalist or comedian that talks about Epstein has made fun of Joe. No one. Weird Omerta. He's got the biggest podcast in the world. I have not seen that podcast. I've been kind of checked out on some of Rogan's podcasts lately, although I was able to check out the Elon Musk one start to finish. People were telling me that after a lot of my Epstein videos, whether it be the Maria Farmer interview or the video I did before that about them, it was going directly to that Joe Rogan episode as the next suggested video, which I found kind of odd. Karen M says, hi, Kelly Lee. Let's see. King of Asario, Arizona is going to moving back to normal come May 16th. How long until the NWO normal Or will this just take place, some of our rights like 9/11? Well, you hopefully saw how they're going to reimagine travel. That's a rights taker. Oh, 4 hours early. Oh, medical exam, screening. Oh, blood test, disinfect it. That's getting a big FU from Jason Burmis. No, thank you. Not happening. No, sir. No, sir. Let's see. Okay, hope all is well, fellow Brigadier Karen. Thumbs this video up, guys, by the way. I haven't said that once. Thumbs this up. I'm going to check the super chats, a.k.a. the GoFundMe donation. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. And that way, if you want to get a question in and skip the line, because obviously we are way behind, and we always are in these things, you can get one in right there. So I'll be checking that in about 5 minutes, guys. Make sure the two aren't just playing humans just to get more to either side as they're on the same side. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Been missing you. Aw. Digital tats for all, courtesy of Dr. Gucci. No digital tats for me, man. Talk about the two whistleblower nurses saying doctors are killing patients. First of all, it's really one whistleblower nurse. Let's stop there. Okay, and we did cover that here. Because the first whistleblower nurse was not a New York City nurse at all. She admitted that in the very beginning. She said it was one of her other nurse contacts. And I don't think she was reading word for word. But I think that the other nurse that they took off, I forget what her name was. We did a full video on that, I think last week. We mentioned it. We showed her face. And I think she was being 100% right. Again, if you were watching what I was saying, I said anybody that goes on a tube is probably donezo. I was one of the first people to talk about an 80% death rate on the tube, right? A lot of people weren't talking about that then. And when, they decide to use that intubation, even though the death rates are going down, it's not a good thing. So I don't know what else to say about that. Let's see. And notice they stopped saying the daily death toll from the past few days from states. I don't know about that, but I've been more keeping up on New York than the national toll. I am doing okay. Chinese-style censorship creeping in. It's already here. Play Titus Frost's new intro. It's on Titus Frost 1984, his main channel. It's unable to live stream. I forgot that Titus got some kind of a strike for one of his videos, so now he can't live stream. You got to go to his secondary channel, which he can live stream on. And I saw that he was trying to call Ghislaine Maxwell and that the first number was hot. So all I can say is keep up the good work, Titus, and hopefully we're going to get back together soon and talk about this crazy world. But yeah, again, just another example. Well, how weird is it again that YouTube gets one of my videos flagged that's a re-upload, and that gets taken down for community guidelines, and yet my video is still up. It's right here. It's right here. And by the way, yes, those are FEMA coffins that are also being used as beds at the Javits Center. And that is one of my Facebook friends right there. So you can go check that if you want to go check that post. It's on the same date as that. What date is that? But he was somebody that was in there with his mother in the Javits Center from almost dying of this thing. That was April 23rd, 2020. So if you go to, here, we'll make it bigger so everybody can see that this is a real person, that this isn't some kind of meme or Photoshop. David Rouslet. Okay? Unbelievable. They were doubling them as beds. And I had some people say, well, that's practical. It's nefarious. All right. It's not even Halloween. Ain't too proud to beg. Those things look ridiculous. Hammers coming down. Don't be a nail. You going to escape to Mexico? No, Heidi. I'm not going to Mexico. Also talk about the alleged USA 300 STB pandemic airborne cover-up going on end of past decade. I don't know exactly what that means. We've talked about biowarfare on this program quite a bit. Okay, let's see. It's been cold here. I've been hibernating the past few days. LOL. Yeah, no, it's freezing out. We had snow over the weekend. Friday and Saturday it snowed here. Get Shron Cross on the show. Don't know who that is. Jason, tone down the sky is falling shtick. There is no sky is falling shtick. First of all, there is no shtick. I don't do shtick. I'm not a bullshitter. I believe what I say. Okay? I read from all angles. And all these people that want to deny that people are dying, I'm sorry, you're wrong. You are wrong. People are dying. And that's fine. I understand that some of you can't accept that. And I understand that it's going on in a very small geographic location for the most part in this country. And again, I want to point out, I've never been for the solutions they've offered, such as medical martial law and lockdowns. Never, not once. But for some reason, people can't take those two ideas and they want to believe that they're, exclusive to one another. They're not mutually exclusive. Okay, that I believe it's a real virus, so lock everybody down. No, never been that person. It's ridiculous. Let me just check over in the GoFundMe section, see if anybody's hit it. Oh, we got some hits. We got some hits. Let's get in there. Thank you for everybody that is donating, by the way. You're keeping me afloat. I love it. Thank you, guys. So let's see. 30 minutes go. Flick off. You're the man. When are we going to get another 24 and 24? Good chance to catch up on the stories overshadowed by COVID-1984, perhaps. Keep up the great work, bro, especially the interviews. Flick off. I love it. And why don't we say, let me see what June 1st brings. And I think that June 1st could be one of those moments. And I want to say thank you to Christopher Kuhn, Kelly Madsen, and Anonymous there also. Pumping it down and donating. I really appreciate it. And all these other donations. Sheila Shaw, Maureen McCaffert, Peter Paulson, Andrew Gray, Christina Jones, Margaret Clark, Diana Schoenbrook, Vincent Repko, and Marissa Bedner. Thank you so much. Love you, Marissa. All right. Let's continue on. Let's go. Let's see. Will be more problems to related shelter in place. Kids need air, sun, and physical activity. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, why do you think I played the Brewer clip? Let's see. Oh, here we go. More lies. Again, people just can't take uncomfortable truths that don't fit into their narratives. They have these ideas of mutual exclusivities. 6 new COVID cases in Wuhan, and they just announced they're going to test all 11 million people. That's nuts. Wow. Yeah, Jason, smoke peace herb. Hey. US, again, I don't know what this is. 300, ST8, I don't know what we're talking about. Might want to look into vaccines. Perhaps you don't know who I am. like, what are you, listen, just so everybody who's new here knows, I'm a documentary filmmaker. In the documentary playlist section here on my channel for free, go watch a film called Shade the Motion Picture. In 2013, I was exposing Bill Gates. And I was exposing him before that on radio and at InfoWars and all those things. But he gets a special love section in Shade. Okay? If you haven't seen Shade yet, please, it wasn't just him. I exposed Bloomberg in his group. I exposed Ted Turner in his group. This is legit, man. I've been kicking and screaming about this stuff for a long time. A long time. So if you want to see some factual information on Bill Gates and who he is, go back to 2013, man. It blows my mind when I get comments like that. It blows my mind, but that's okay. That's okay. I always ask myself, what's next? Airborne AIDS? I wonder if Nicole Sirotek is doing okay. That is the nurse that I was talking about that we did put a piece on here. For sure. That's the one I absolutely 100% believe was on the ground and giving an honest accounting of what's going on there. Last American Vagabond had an amazing interview with a doc yesterday questioning the origin of all viruses. It was really interesting. Last American Vagabond does some great work. Whitney Webb does great work over there. They just got Derek Brose over there. Derek Brose of the Conscious Resistance, another great person. I'm going to try to beef up the interviews. I never heard back from Joe Tippins, but we're definitely going to reach out to him and try to get him on in a bit. Anyone here wearing masks on a daily basis? When I go into stores, I have to. They won't let you in. So if I end up going to Walgreens, I have to put it on. If I go to Walmart, I have to put it on. If I go to BJ's, I have to put it on. So when I am not in those places, no, I'm not wearing a mask. When I go to the UPS store, I have to put it on. It's believe me, it's more than annoying. I don't like it, but it's mandated. Forget about the dirty look or the chew out. It's just like, I'm not trying to create enemies. I'm trying to, listen, it's hard enough. Like, looking at myself and I'm like, oh, I'm 2 feet from this person. That's why they're giving me a dirty look, because I can't even think that way. I want to hug people. All right? I miss being a human being like the rest of us. I talked about that aspect in the very beginning. There's nothing to be ashamed about earning an honest living. There, however, is something to be ashamed about being bought out by lobbyists after being elected. 100%. Or even before being elected. You know, Cynthia McKinney, who I had on, talks about how they get to you before you're even in office. You know, they try to buy you then while you're running. My friend's friend died in New York in his bed at home of a heart attack, and they put COVID on the death certificate. Again, there is some dishonesty out there. Where I'm not saying that there are people that aren't being dishonest. It's also not it. But again, when you get to the raw numbers of how many more people are dying in New York State day to day than we're dying, that they're undeniable to me. They're undeniable. Just telling you. The excess deaths are coming from somewhere. And we've done it here. You know, we'll have to wait 3 years probably for the national numbers. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll get them. But when on average is about 155, 153, maybe 156,000 people a year over the last 5 years on average dying in New York, are you guys going to believe something else happened when 180,000 people were dead in New York? Or are you going to claim something else? I'm curious as where your goalpost moves. That's all. Luminity will continue to release new strains of pathogen. Maybe time to address them. I wear a mask when I go to the store, etc., but that's it. I only do it because I have to, because if I didn't, I wouldn't. If viruses are not communicable, and many people find out, the whole scamdemic falls apart. Again, I don't know if there's anyone that's really disproved germ theory. I realize Caulfield's out there doing those interviews, but I don't know that I agree with that guy, you know? And I know that Richie Allen challenged him on a lot of his points rather than just kind of nodding his head and going along with it. So I have respect for Richie. I have respect for Tony Gosling. I've got respect for James Corbett, Luke Radowski, The Last American Vagabond, the people that I know that are doing their best to tell the truth. We can have differing opinions. I think that's healthy. Maybe due to all those shots they receive, which leaves 30% or more vulnerable, and maybe trigger or some contamination, hoof and mouth. Kids need sun. I agree. Hey, Brigade. Hope all is well. Flick off. Thank you again for that big donation. Really appreciate you, brother. Miss talking to you in the super chats. I really do. No mask, no gloves. I'm living normal life. And if my job tries to make me, I quit. That a girl, Marlena. I like the anonymity, to be honest. The surveillance state is sick, and I like it. Our entire environment is poison. The kids are off limits. People die every day, kids too. Why in New York? Cuomo, ask him. Oh, is it because it's a blue state? Come on. Look, I'm not approving of what Cuomo's done to this state. I didn't like what he did before this. I didn't like the mandatory vaccinations that he imposed on people that had the religious waiver. And he acted like, oh, well, you can just homeschool your kids. And now everybody's homeschooling their kids. Kind of ironic, I know. But for him to bring in Michael Bloomberg, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Eric Schmidt to reshape the future of my state, no, 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 no. And if you haven't seen my video, Eric Schmidt Exposed, we talk about this right here. Just read the title. Eric Schmidt, The New Digital Age, Reshaping the Future of People, Nations, and Businesses. And by the way, Jared Cohen, he worked at Google with Schmidt, also on the Counterterrorism Task Force, also a senior member of the Council on Foreign Relations, also a Rhodes Scholar. Does that tell you everything you need to know? I'd say just about. Lori, yes. Let's continue on. I know BS4L Labs, they've potential diseases that would kill 98+% in 3 days. Chill. This is not a monster to run from. Yeah, no, listen, there's no doubt in my mind that there's way, way, way more deadly biowarfare out there. But when you look at this thing, it seems like it's extremely contagious. And that's not to say there's not fault with the test. That was actually one of the points my Brooklyn contact make of how many problems there are with these tests. Because I think he said that his wife and kid did test negative or something like that they're saying maybe not. He said something, I don't want to misquote him. Let me bring it up. We do it live. And guys, I'll check the super chats again, aka the GoFundMe. Let's see what he said. Okay. Let's see. Here it is. My wife right here. My wife and son both tested negative. Yep, he did say that. So I'm not. And then under it he said that's complete nonsense. So there you go. I mean, again, this is somebody on the ground in Brooklyn, and we disagree on a lot of politics, but he ain't lying about his family. Okay, he ain't. Period. And anyone that can't understand that we're all human, I mean, look, that's why that Jim Brewer clip was so damn perfect. So damn perfect. So much about that I loved. Counting them all, I almost got thrown out of Kroger's for not wearing a mask. I got loud and the manager backed down. Yep, well, I'm not trying to get loud. Industrial toxic environment of greed, pollution. Anyone know how many billionaires have come down with COVID-19? Exactly. Remember one of the first things I said, I'll believe this is a natural virus when a member of the predator class drops dead. Still hasn't happened. When a billionaire drops dead. Still hasn't happened. You know what I'm saying? You get it? You get my drift? Replace Cuomo, the city will be healthy. It's not how it really works. But again, the medical martial law aspect and not allowing people to choose their treatments and not getting to it early, yeah, that is a big problem. Big problem. Vax, China syndrome, thinking of changing my name to Canadian Truth Seeker, LOL. That truther stigma. I hear you. I'm not a big fan of it's not even the stigma. It's like it. I don't know how to describe it except for when it was originally termed, it was 9/11 truther. And I pointed out that they actually tried to take the fact that people were trying to tell the truth about 9/11 and turned it around into they're crazy. They used the term truth. And then again, We Are Change was huge. And what did they do? Oh, hope and change with Obama. With Obama. Barack Obama. He's going to save us. No. LOL, I don't think it should be mandatory, but I like it. I do. LOL. Biofilm dummies. We're being playing with corrupt healthcare. I don't know what that means. F masks. Why do they say the 5 children's rash is COVID related? Maybe you mentioned it. Again, because they haven't diagnosed it. So I don't know. But then again, this guy is in a hospital all the time. That's his job. And he doesn't believe it. His kid really tested negative. And listen, again, 2 months ago, when I think I first started reading some of the stuff. Now, I never read his stuff word for word, but he was my Brooklyn contact. I saw that he was in and out of the hospital with his kid, and I was very worried for him. Not going to lie. And I didn't know whether it was related to this. In fact, I didn't really think it was. I thought there was something else going on. But no. If you played the Titus Frost intro in You're the Man, it's a banger. I don't want to jump over there right now. Shingles with chickenpox vaccine is another side effect. More F masks, nothing but love. Of course it's kids. It's to get a reaction. What are they spraying in the skies with masks on everyone's lungs? Good and ready to have contaminants introduced. It's Colonel Sanders' secret recipe nobody gives us. Maybe it has to do with the 5G after all. Trees' bark is being affected by 5G. It's reported its effects on skin. Keep the fear. I don't know what that means. Predictive programming, cripes, narc mentality, good times. Who wants to move to the forest with me? I refuse to be groped. I drive. Me. You know what? I'm going to put the GoFundMe link in there right now. If anyone wants to get a super chat, we're going to check it one last time in 5 minutes as we wrap this up, guys. And I know we didn't get to a lot of the questions and comments, and I'm trying. But we're going to do about an hour on this one. 5G isn't good, but it's different. But this is different from all sides, doctors, specialists, nurses with opposing views. 5G is many things, and it is not tested or good. And I don't like the idea that it's going to bring in a total track trace database society with automation. I think that's the main problem with it. But the health issues are there as well. I don't necessarily think that this is one of them. That's not to say that it couldn't make it worse. But again, I've never bought into that. And everybody knows it. Okay? Hate snitches, mind your business. Oh, the Kevin James video. It's good stuff, right? It's definitely some good stuff. Whoa. Let's see. It came from plants. Snitches get stitches. Okay, business. Some sick Hunger Games. Shizzle. I could do a life in the woods. Which forest I'll go? The people behind COVID-19 scam are the same people who are behind the latest scare for their goals. Vaccinated kids are having their immune system falling apart from being locked down. GD vegans. People need to stop flying. Only if we allow this. We got one that can see. They live. Same, Kelly. I live in the middle of nowhere in EO. All we need is fresh water, fire, grubbing, like a Renfest for real. How about we band together? Whoa. You know what? How about this? How about we got to get rid of you because you're calling for violence? Sorry. You know, we don't call for the death of a bunch of people. That's not how we do things here. It's not how we do things here. Again, I just want people to understand, listen, again, at some level, all these people can get touched, but they need to be exposed verbally with evidence and information. All right? Live by the sword, die by the sword. For real. And most of these people live by their propaganda. And we've got to find a way to get through that. Okay? Period. Is that a bullet hole in the tree? I'm not sure. Plants are not living. Airplane will be run empty. This is the Paris Agreement. Macron hit Trump with climate. Some people are just insane. We'll start a commune. Animals are living. Yep, no one said they weren't. Jason, love what you do. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Nice wisp. What do you mean you're going to go back to sea? Don't think them cruises were doing well with this shiz either. I'm not worried about the virus as long as I can treat it the way I want to treat it. Aper son. That's the point. See, this is the disconnect, man. Don't you get it? I'm more worried about the blood test and the disinfectant spray and the 4-hour screening process and the passport, the immunity passport. That's what I'm worried about. My goodness. My point is that if they don't do that on boats, I'll use a boat. That was my point. My goodness. Just get some medical marijuana and you'll be fine as long as you're higher than all the other MFers. Thumbs up, Burmy Bros. Burmese Brigade. Not a cult, just a retreat center. Don't kill the pet plant. You can hear the goats. Sounds good to me, Kelly. Everything is alive. Is scumbag Cuomo practicing population genocide control in New York? I'll say this about Cuomo. The one thing he did was push back on the militarization. Everything else has been kind of nightmarish for sure. But he did push back on Rhode Island and sending the National Guard into homes. If only you have ears to hear. The first rule of a republic is to keep your mouth open. Yes, Brian Grussing. Cult commune retreat center works for me. That guy was in Half-Baked. Yes, he was. I think. Yes, he was. Is Jim the one that did the alcohol comedy bit? He did a lot of alcohol comedy bits. Brewer is actually really bright. Reminds me of that shill Owen Benjamin. I don't know that he reminds me anything about Owen Benjamin. But you know what? I watched, what was it? Owen Benjamin's Tall Pianist or something like that. A Small Pianist or Giant Pianist. I don't know. It's on Amazon. It's good. It's hilarious, actually. Killed it on that one, Owen. Props. Guys, a gem like Burmese. Well, thank you. Check out the project to kill 90% of humanity to maintain it. The Drug Wizard. Wow, New York is really pushing it. Be scared. Be very scared. Expecting more made-up stories linked to COVID. Yes, at Canadian Truther. Dude, on the couch. Ask him if his child had the flu shot or the chickenpox vaccine. I'm sure the kid is fully vaccinated, for sure. You know, he's always bought into those two. And I get that. And I get that connection for some people, and I totally understand it. He does a hella funny Tracy Morgan impression. Is your friend with cancer okay? He's doing chemo. He lost all his hair. It's kind of a difficult subject for me. You know, I'm doing my best to try to convince him to take the treatment. And on the flip side to that, you know, My dog Karma, her leg, as I always told you, the hole in her bone was never going to go away, and her leg has progressed pretty bad in the last week or so. And I'm not sure how much more time my dog has left, and that's going to be a tough day. Maybe a tough few days. A tough forever. I still think of my other two dogs that I love so much, even a third dog that I had prior to that, but definitely the last two that I had for 6 and 10 years, and Karma's 13, and it's going to be a tough day, but I can see it's probably coming soon. Because I'm not going to have my dog suffer and just like lie there all day either. Crusher, you're a bunch of plants. That's awesome. Jim's the man. His stand-up is priceless. Jim's skin is radiant. And it's about blue states. See, I knew it was about blue states. Blue states this, blue state. Get out of here with that, man. First of all, upstate New York is largely Republican. All right, they lean way more right than you would think. It's not what you think here. The city is a small geographic area that does little to represent the viewpoints of those above that line. Just to let you know, Ed. Again, report you're positive, they'll pay you. No questions asked. Again, there is corruption going on. There's no doubt about it. All right, I'm going to go check over here and see if we have received any more fundraiser super chats. We have. Kathy Madsen, here we go. While discussing Kawasaki disease triggered by COVID, Fauci called it COVID-16, then corrected himself saying 19. My conspiracy theory is schools will stay closed in USA and it will be COVID-16 for under 16-year-olds. That's interesting. I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory. That's probably a rebranding and perhaps you being very astute and noticing what's going on there. So that's interesting, Kathy. I hadn't seen Fauci say that, by the way. All right, I'm going to come back. I'm going to take a couple more questions. Thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. I'm going to be back at 10:10, or maybe around 10 o'clock, going live just before and then with the Action for Assange crew. Oh, there it is right there. And as you said that, look at that. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think that the entire nation is going to allow for school closings. I think that this state is going to be one of the ones where we're going to have to fight hard to have the upstaters be able to go to school. But colleges upstate that are state-run and probably don't have the funding anyway at this point. I think there's going to be some harsh truths there. Them bitches forget they worked for us. We are citizens, not subjects. That's right. Humans are hotels for microbial life. Trump says, trust the plan. Psh, exactly. You don't trust anybody's plan. You get in there and you fight. You fight for the truth and you challenge people. 90% of people will die. Listen, man, I know all about the 12,000 for the COVID death certificate, and we've talked about the death certificates back and forth on here. And I know it's not, by the way, 39,000 bonus bucks to run a ventilator on a person for a week in New York City. You know how much $39,000 gets you? Doesn't get you the week. Maybe it gets you a couple days, just so you understand how the system works. Come down to New York City, get some health care. Find out how pricey it is. Okay? So not to say that there isn't corruption, because corruption runs rampant when you have money. Okay? But again, my own cousin got diagnosed with pneumonia as a 39-year-old and had to beg 3 times for a test, gets the test, comes back negative. Then they call her, send her to the Bear Mountain facility. She tests positives with no symptoms whatsoever. Last week at Vassar, they test her for the antibodies and they say she doesn't have them. All right? Take it for what you will. Grateful I got out of dinner for Mother's Day, slow evening, no mass to be seen, but medical care still a bit shut down. So things my family need done are on pause, hoping sis doesn't have cancer. Yeah, let's hope. I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm finding it tough to get some testing done that I need done right now. So I'm not for the shutdown at all. At all. I want to make it clear. The first rule of the Republic is to keep yep, you said that, Charles. You said that. To maintain the population, long live paint. Just is Anonymous there to troll? Probably. Please stop voting. Many of us have already some form of 1984 virus. Bill Gates is an alien. Yes. Hug yo peeps. Unite, but don't get corona. Unite. Say F no to the virus. I give that a thumbs up. Vote by expressing compassion everywhere. Who invited tequila? Yes, that is Brewer's bit. Man, we're all the way back on the Brewer thing. Man, we're way behind. That's why the super chats are cool, because you can get some that are also like what we're actually talking about at the time. Apple lesson, good or evil, did you learn it? We the people, and take your life in your heart and live. Politicians think about money, power, and money. Unite, 20K in Cali. We need to rage war on the powerful. TTID. Scott LMAO. All right, everybody. Leave your phones at home or else you might be quarantined due to crossing paths with confirmed cases. This contact tracing nonsense is that nonsense. Jason Burmis, how long ago did the Blue Angels and Thunderbirds fly over New York City spurring white trails? Do we know what was in it? I don't. Fauci and his team probably know. Kill the youths and the elderly. I don't think it goes that far, my friend. Time to stop tracking the madness. That's right, Alyssa. Why is a comedian speaking upon this topic, and why are you promoting this? Did you hear what he said? Who am I? I think I'm funny. I'm no comedian, but I'm just a regular guy. I think that I have a voice, and I think that Jim Brewer used his celebrity voice to express something very real and very important. Okay? Swedish medical doctor whistleblower said he was told to diagnose dyspnea pain breathing as anxiety. Interesting. Where can I find the Jim Brewer video? On his Facebook page. LMAO, such a good bit. Hey, lady. Positive tests mean nothing. FYI. They can already track us without any devices. I don't believe that is true. Here in Washington State restaurants, to start keeping logs of customers. I know that's crazy. Anyone can speak about Wooly. We are going through. It's so piped down. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for me. If you can, please consider donating. Keep me alive. Keeping independent media going during COVID-1984. Make sure you're thumbs up, subscribing. We're 54,000 strong. 54,000 strong. That is awesome. I'd love to get to 100K, guys, before they take me off. But who knows what's going to happen with this channel. I'm also on Minds. Make sure you go check me out there, posting over there. And then, if you missed it, oh, look who did an exclusive on Rockfin today. And then for free. So you can sign up for Rockfin for free. And every Tuesday at noon, we go live there for free. You can come join the fun. And then we leave it up for free a couple days. And then it goes premium. And look what else is free. The UFC 249 Fight Companion with Funky Ben Askren and Front Row Brian. If you missed that, that's 4.5 hours of fun. And we're doing at least 5 exclusives a week now over on Rockfin, so expect another one behind the premium wall tomorrow. I want to thank everybody who has supported me and endorsed me over on Rockfin. And remember, when you endorse me, you get everybody's content, including Ben Askren, including John Fitch, Graham Elwood, Ron Placone, The Convo Couch, Nico House, and so many others. All my documentary films, guys, they are free right here, right now, in the documentaries playlist. Make sure you go check them out. And I just want to say thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for listening. I love you. It's not about right or left. That paradigm is so old, so over. It is about right and wrong every single time. So once again, I love you, and I will see you all on the flip.